Welcome back, students. This is a short note on the maxillary nerve. The question is, write a short note on maxillary nerve and its branches. Now, the maxillary nerve is a branch from trigeminal ganglion or the trigeminal nerve. It is a division of the trigeminal nerve. It arises from trigeminal ganglion in the middle cranial fossa. And whole of this maxillary nerve is a sensory nerve. It doesn't contain any somatic motor fiber. So let us see. This is the trigeminal ganglion here in the trigeminal cave. Okay. So this is trigeminal, located near the apex of the petrous temporal bone. On its anterior surface there is a trigeminal impression in which this broad ganglion it lies. This is called as trigeminal ganglion. Trigeminal ganglion. I just write in a short form. And from this trigeminal ganglion, three divisions of the trigeminal nerves they arise. This is called as the ophthalmic division. This is the maxillary nerve or maxillary division, and this is the mandibular division, the third division. Okay, so ophthalmic, maxillary and mandibular nerves they take origin from the anterior margin of this trigeminal ganglion in the middle cranial fossae. Now then, after its origin, the maxillary nerve it runs on the floor of the middle cranial fossa, okay, till it goes to the foramina. Extremely sorry. Till it goes to the foramina, what is called as the foramina rotundum. So from the trigeminal ganglion, it runs on the in the middle cranial fossa, and then it enters inside the tunnel shaped the foramina rotundum. Okay, the foramina rotundum. Right. From foramina rotundum. Okay, so from foramina rotundum, this goes into the this pterygopalatine fossa. Okay, or the pterygopalatine fossa, which is situated deep to the pterygomaxillary fissure, and then there is a very small triangular fossa, the pterygopalatine fossa, and here it joins with that means from the roots of this maxillary nerve, the pterygopalatine ganglion hangs into the pterygopalatine fossa, similar to the submandibular ganglion was hanging with the lingual nerve. Okay. This is in the similar way the pterygopalatine ganglion is attached to it in the this pterygopalatine fossa. Now from the pterygopalatine fossa, okay, this a very small, I have drawn a long diagram, but this is fossa is very small. From this pterygopalatine fossa, the nerve enters into the orbit. And how it enters into the orbit? By passing through the infraorbital fissure. Okay, there. So suppose this is the infraorbital fissure in which the nerve is entering to the orbit. Okay, then it runs in the floor of the orbit. Okay, and this here in the floor of the orbit where it is running into the infraorbital groove, this is called as the infraorbital nerve. So no longer it is called as the maxillary nerve, it is called as the infraorbital nerve. Now then the nerve from this area, I mean to say from orbit, it goes into and appears into the infraorbital foramina, which is just below the lower border of the orbit. Okay, orbital opening on the face. Just at the lower margin below that there is the opening of a foramina called as the infraorbital foramina. So now comes out through the infraorbital foramina on the face where it divides into its terminal branches. Okay, its terminal branches. So this is the course. Okay, so let me just once again revise. From trigeminal ganglion in the middle cranial fossa, the maxillary nerve then runs at the floor of the middle cranial fossa to enter into the foramina rotundum. From foramina rotundum, the nerve lies in the pterygopalatine fossa, and from pterygopalatine fossa, then it enters into the infraorbital fissure to come inside the orbit, and in the orbit it is called as the infraorbital nerve, and then from there it comes through the infraorbital groove to the infraorbital canal, and then it appears on the face in the form of the infraorbital terminal branches of this infraorbital nerve. Okay, you can call it as the terminal branches of the maxillary nerve also. Let us go to the branches of this maxillary nerve, and all these branches, they are sensory branches. Okay, sensory branches. Let's come to the first branch, which is given before it enters the foramina rotundum. Okay, before it enters and this is the meningeal branch, which supply the dura mater of the middle cranial fossa. So this is the meningeal branch. Then in the in the fossa, that is the pterygopalatine fossa, it gives attachment, or the pterygopalatine ganglion hangs from this nerve, that is from the maxillary nerve, and lot of branches are long branches. They take origin from this pterygopalatine ganglion, which we will discuss in the next short video about the pterygopalatine ganglion. After this pterygopalatine fossa, what we will see that here, okay, the nerve gives, okay, within the fossa, the nerve gives the two important branches. One is called as the zygomatic branch, okay, which passes through the infraorbital fissure for some distance into the orbit, and then it disappears to come out as the zygomatico-temporal branch of the zygomatic nerve, and it is the zygomatico-facial because it comes on the face, on the cheekbone, that is the zygomatic bone. There is a foramina from which comes out. So zygomatico-temporal and zygomatico-facial, these are the two branches of this zygomatic nerve, which is given in the infratemporal, into the infraorbital into the pterygopalatine fossa, which is given before it goes inside the infraorbital fissure. And another branch which is given before it enters the orbit, and this branch is called as the posterior superior alveolar. Posterior superior alveolar. Why it is called posterior? Because there are middle and anterior superior alveolar. And why they are called superior and alveolar? Because they are coming to the maxillary alveolar process, that is of the alveolar process of the upper jaw, maxillary jaw, and they are coming from above, so they are superior. So this is posterior superior alveolar nerve, which will go and the fine branches of the posterior superior, multiple branches will pierce the posterior surface of the maxillary bone, body of the maxilla, where it can be seen in a dry skull, and then these branches will go and supply the molar teeth. Okay, that will act as a nerve for the molar teeth, the three molar teeth. Okay, posterior superior alveolar. So till this, it is into the pterygopalatine fossa. Okay, so these are the branches from pterygo. So only one branch in the middle cranial fossa, then the branches in the pterygopalatine fossa, and then it has entered inside the orbit. So let us see what are the orbital branch. Here orbital branch is the middle superior and the anterior superior alveolar nerve. So I will just write it here. It is middle superior alveolar, and this is the anterior superior alveolar. And I said that why they are called as alveolar, because they will go to the alveolar process, which provides the socket for the teeth of the upper jaw. and to which they will supply. The middle superior alveolar will similarly supply to the premolar teeth, the canine, and then the anterior superior alveolar will supply to the incisor teeth, okay, to the incisor teeth. So these are the three alveolar branches of the maxillary nerve for the upper jaw, and then it comes out on the face, okay, through the infraorbital foramina, and this gives the three terminal branches. The one which will go towards the eyelid is the palpebral branch. Palpebral. That means for lower eyelid it will sensory supply. All are sensory. And then it will go on to the lateral side of the nose. So nasal, skin. Okay, they are supplying to the skin of the nose. Nasal branch. And then one is going to the upper lip. So it is called as superior labial. This will be called as, so for upper lip, for the nasal, and for the lower eyelid. These are the terminal branches, okay, of the maxillary nerve, which will supply the skin on the face. Skin, sensory supply to the skin on the face. Okay. So these are the various branches of the maxillary nerve, and remember that it is purely sensory. Branches, okay, are given first into the middle cranial fossa, meningeal branch, then into the pterygopalatine fossa to the ganglionic branch through which the ganglion is hanging, then posterior superior alveolar and the zygomatic branch. These are given, and then the nerve enters in the orbit where it gives, and before that it gives the posterior superior, and then it enters the through the orbital fissure inferior to that of the orbit where it gives the two superior alveolar, that is middle and anterior, and then it comes out on face to form the terminal branches, palpebral, nasal, and the superior labial. Okay, the zygomatic gives two terminal branches, zygomatico-temporal and zygomatico-facial. Thank you very much for watching this video.